Hello and welcome to Down to Earth Convos Down Under, episode 21. In this episode, we're joined by Kirri Wood, fitness coach, fitness model, wife, mother of two, with a background in a variety of sports and nutrition, to talk about her approach to raising
Okay.
healthy kids.
Hey there, Brad, over in WA. How you going?
I'm doing well as always. How are you?
Well, I'm great because I've got my beautiful dear friend, close family friend, Kirri Wood,
Hi, Brad.
joining us. Thank you, Kirri, for being here with us today. And just to give you our listeners and Brad, who may not know Kirri as well as I do, well, the first thing I want to say, you're just awesome. You're so inspirational to me and my family. Kirri is a fitness coach, a fitness model, a sports nutritionist. Firstly, I've missed out the major role, a happily married wife.
A very long time.
A very long time, exactly. I was there at the wedding, and mother of two gorgeous children. Kai, aged 18, am I correct?
Correct.
And Zoe, who's 15.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the number one roles there. But you're a water skier, you're a horse rider, you're just incredible. I don't know how you fit all that you do in a day and inspire people like at the ultimate level. So Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's awesome.
It's our pleasure. So you have chosen the topic today to share with our audience, being parents who are raising teens, raising healthy, active kids so that they use informed decisions when we're not there as a parent.
Yeah.
So where will we start, Kirri? Like, where does the basis start? Is this seeds that you planted?
It started from when they were really little, just I suppose encouraging them to be outdoors, encouraging them to take up sport, supporting their sport, and then letting them choose a whole lot of different sports as well to try. I've got two very different kids, which is really crazy. You've got one that's just like me. He's my son, my 18-year-old. He's just going all the time. He's always busy. And then I've got my daughter who is not so busy. So she's the one that I've had to use a lot of tools to get motivated. So they've been completely different challenge, each of them. One does my head in because he's full on. The other one does my head in because she's not full on. So I can't win. I haven't got, hey, what's normal? There's no normal.
That's right. And it's always a balance. And there's a word that I just picked up on too, challenge. So that was something that I know that you're doing so well with the kids, the way you've raised them, but life is a challenge and parenting is one of the most challenging roles. So it's good that
we're all novice. None of us ever done it before. You get the first one, that's great. Get the second one, it's completely different. So you're never ready. You're never ready, and you're experienced to a certain degree, but you're dealing with different personalities, and different driving forces. My son's driven for different reasons to my daughter. My daughter's she's driven by her friends and her team, whereas my son's he's self-driven like me. So for my daughter, it's sort of like, whoa, I need to kick her up the butt literally sometimes and use a little bit of, bribery to get her moving. For her at this age, we can go back to when they were little or later, but at this age, she's the kid that doesn't want to go for a run. So if she's got to go to work and misses footy training, for example, I'll be like, okay, so you got to come home from school. We're going to go for a 2K run and then we're going to do half an hour of ball skills. I'm not doing that. I'm like, yeah, you are. And she will fight me. And then I'm like, okay, well, your call. I said, you just won't see your friends this weekend. She's like, and she loves her friends. We don't have a house. We live in a shed. So she likes to go to other people's houses because they have heaters and all the cool stuff. So, or warm stuff at this time of the year. So the other day I got her out running and she ran the whole 2Ks nonstop compared to the run prior where I was really up her. Like I really got stuck into it because she was walking, Snapchatting herself and then I'd be like screaming at her. And then I said to her, oh my God, you would rather clean a toilet. And she said, yeah, I actually would. You're a horrible mum, making me go for a run. So, but it works. And, so making her motivated, I feel mean, but it's like training a dog. You got to be consistent. Otherwise they don't respect you. It's that's teenagehood. But I do have a good story about the supermarket because I think every mum has problems in the supermarket because I think the number one rule is never take your kids grocery shopping.
And when they're very young, like toddlers, I'll let you tell your story. But yeah, it starts early.
Oh, it starts early. So I don't know if you know Brad, but when you take kids shopping, they want everything. And so I will say, all right, you can have one thing each. I said, you'll get $5. I said, you've got to choose the best value for money. So they might grab out a chocolate milk each, and then they'll find something else. And it's got to be one thing though. So, and I also promote the healthiest choice. So not only value for money, but it's also going to be relatively healthy. So look, chocolate milk in my mind is a treat. It's not completely healthy, and nor is 2-minute noodles, but you can get a pack of 5 for great value. So one of my best things that I've ever done as a parent is when they were little, maybe, I don't know, 5 and 8 or 6 and 9, something like that. I took them in and they're loading up the trolley. And I'm like, you guys, what are you doing? I said one thing and they're haggling me. And the trolley was relatively full. And I said, if you guys don't shut up or put some of that stuff back, I'm going to leave the trolley right here and go home. And so they wouldn't stop. They didn't shut up. So I grabbed my phone, my wallet, my keys, and I left. And they are fully chasing me down the hallway. Mom, all the food's in the trolley. I said, guys, I told you, I'm not putting up with it. I said one thing. So I went home. I went all the way home. They were devastated. They couldn't believe that I actually went through with it. I think that's the thing with a lot of parents. Following through. So many parents, they try to call the bluff. And then, they don't follow through with the action or the threat. And then the kids are like,
the threat.
Yeah, true. Don't tell me you haven't threatened your kids.
Oh,
Ali.
no, I'm not. I'm agreeing. Don't you worry.
So then the next time we went to the supermarket, it started to happen again. I said, guys, I'll go home. No. So they just put shit back on the shelves wherever they are. And then we get around the supermarket and leave. And I think it took, even now, if they come with me at their age, they know. And honestly, I reckon every parent should do it.
It's fun. It's an exciting thing to do in the supermarket, is make a stand and watch people look at the way you raise your kids. Yeah, you've got to make the stand and you've got to follow through. So can I just bounce off? My little boy was about 2 or 3, and right at the cash registers where they have all the crap food and the junk food. Deliberately. Yeah, those impulse buying that they want us to spend. I remember that Sammy was on the floor literally having a tantrum at age 3. And I just look at the cashier, I go, when are you guys going to learn to get this crap out of here? And then the tantrum stopped. Yeah, because they know that they can roll on the ground and kick as much as they like. I'm not buying that crap.
Yep. Yeah. No, you've got to be strong. I'll tell you what, you've got to be a resilient parent too. Resilient kids and resilient parents goes hand in hand.
Yeah, then they'll be a reflection of us.
Yeah.
Raising resilient kids. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Great story.
That was a good one. And even now, so leading on and talking about supermarkets, I've always encouraged my kids and being able to afford for a little bit of a more expensive choice. So say now, rather than them having a packet of chips or a donut or, a lollipop, I've never been a lollipop person because they're honestly feral for teeth. Yep. So they know number one rule is never have a lollipop in front of me. Even now, they might go buy a super sucker and legit, this is really bad for the environment, but I will ping it out the window of the car. And they're like, what? And I used to do that when they were younger as well. They'd be hooking into something. I could see them slowly getting more and more feral. And then I just dump the lollies out the car as I'm driving, no pack at that time. But honestly, so what I do and what I've instilled into them from a very young age is the healthy choice.
Yes.
So we will go in and so he'd be like, can I have a little packet of raspberries? And I'm like, absolutely. Yeah, it's $4 compared to a $1 salami stick. But I would rather put that little punnet of raspberries into her belly and into her cells than a salami stick.
Yeah.
So now, even when they're with their friends, they will do the same thing. Great story, great timing for today. My daughter said to us, and I've never body shamed my kids at all, ever. My husband, my son, and I all have 6-pack abs. Mm-hmm. My daughter turned around and said the other day, Mum, I'm the only one in the family that doesn't have a 6-pack. Can you please write me up a meal plan? I'm like, okay. She has been asking me for a while, but I wasn't sure how serious. And I don't really want to have a plan as such. But what it did was it we did some Googling and some calorie checking on certain things that she might randomly buy through the week, because unfortunately here where we live, the kids congregate in McDonald's a bit. And, there's nothing food in the word McDonald's.
Was that imitation food? That was an experiment, wasn't it?
Yeah, imitation food. So she rolls into Macca's this week before footy training and she sends me a message, Mum, I'm the only one out of all my friends have bought a soda water and a packet of apple. She said, it's really hard because during the week we Googled the calorie content of a packet of hot chips and a burger. And I told her, I said, okay, there's 1,000 calories or kilojoules in one burger. That's around about 600 calories. That's over 1/3 of your daily requirement as a 15-year-old growing kid that sits down a lot at school.
Yeah.
So I said, what I'll do in your little meal plan, and it is just a guide, is because obviously I sort out her breakfasts during the week and I do a beautiful lunch during the week, and then she's got a little bit of room to move with a few treats. But I've allowed half a packet of McDonald's, I should say McChuck, chips, fries, sorry. So she knows now that when she's actually at work at the burger bar having a few chips when she's, working, that it's okay because I've factored that into her day. And what also brought that on was that she said to me after I'd made this awesome teriyaki chicken bowl with quite a bit of rice, and rice is lovely, especially organic rice. It's really wholesome and no sprays or no chemicals or whatever, but it's very high in calories. And see, a lot of people don't even know that pasta and rice are loaded in calories. It doesn't even take a lot, and they can be over-consuming. And as you know, we live in a society of obesity, and a lot of the time when you look around, I'm not a judgy person, but I will scan the crowd, and definitely you will see the heavier parents are raising the heavier kids.
That's right.
And it's and you look at the trolley. Yeah, I might be judgy when I look at a trolley. I'm like, people, where's your food? You've got not one bit of food in there. There might be a bag of apples.
Yeah.
So that was the most amazing thing, because she had no idea. That's right. She had a McFlurry after school and she didn't tell me. So I dished up her teriyaki chicken and rice, and she said, Mum, I had a McFlurry today. I'm like, oh, Zoe,
it's another 2K run coming up.
She said, will our 2K run burn that off? I said, not even a bit. It'll maybe burn off a quarter of that. She's like, really? I'm like, yes. So let me know if you do have a whoopsie. I will just not include the rice in your meal, because, I think if you raise chubby kids not that she's chubby, she's beautiful, she's tall, she's an athlete in her own right, but she's a bit of puppy fat, puppy fat, and that's acceptable. Yeah. And like I said, I've never body shamed her, and it took her decision and it was timing. She was ready to say that. You have all got abs. I haven't got abs. I want abs like all of you. I'm like, well, girlfriend, I'm here to help you.
I have to flash back to when I first met Kirri, which is like 18 years ago, 18 and a half years ago. Her firstborn baby, 6 weeks old, Kirri had a six-pack. You just blew me away. I didn't even think that was possible.
I had no hair. My hair was falling out because I wasn't eating enough protein. So, at 48, I think now with what I know through nutrition, having to heal myself, is that, protein's essential when you are breastfeeding. And you can still, that wasn't deliberate. My abs are my party trick. It's sort of, I think I was like a turtle shell in my past life or something.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're talking about healthy choices and raising your children to make a healthy choice. And you planted that seed really young. You follow through to if they don't follow your guide. And I might say too that this conversation that people are listening to, your health and wellness and fitness is a high priority. It's high in your values. And therefore a parent shares their love for a child according to what's most important to them. And I can see that
happy mum, happy wife, happy life. And if you don't get to do what you love, the sunshine is our medicine. Movement is medicine. Oxygenating our body it's essential. Yep. And sitting is the new smoking.
Yes, I've heard that.
It's
hideous. Talk on that.
It's hideous. So as a coach, and I've got quite a few people I coach online, they've got to check in daily with their steps, because people don't realize that even our government website of all places says a minimum of 10,000 steps a day for a healthy life. So
That sounds a lot, but it's not.
It's really not. I mean, if you move around doing your cleaning and your washing and in the garden, putting the bins out, feeding the dogs, you generally can clock them up. But quite frankly, a lot of people will get up, get dressed, get in the car, go to work, sit down for lunch, go home, sit down and watch TV. They won't have even done 5,000 steps. So, and then they have their washing day on a Saturday or their cleaning day on a Saturday. So they might do 20,000 steps on a Saturday but it's being mindful. I'm teaching my kids that too. I think it's really important that they're mindful of their movement. I'm on Zoe's case all the time. Get out in the sun, get moving, take the dogs for a walk. Go out and kick the footy around.
Yeah.
Because
how much water are you drinking as well?
Water, yeah, they're great with water.
Yeah.
They will not buy anything other than water or soda water. There might be a Slurpee chucked in with the younger one.
One of those furry things from McDonald's, whatever those things are called, flurries.
Yeah. No. So it's movement is key, and I feel like I hound my daughter a lot. I'm mentioning her a lot because Kai's her, but I know that she will thank me later in life. She'll appreciate what I've done to instill this habit. It's about creating habits, healthy habits, and then making those informative choices based on what they've learned from me. Rather than catching a bus, walk to the next bus stop or walk to the friend's house. I did catch them. She said, we're walking to so-and-so's place. This is yesterday. And then I tooted the horn because they're sitting at the bus stop. I'm like, bastard, you told me you were walking. So, and then that was one of the things. I've actually sent my daughter to work a year and a half younger than my son because Kai was just so busy. There was no time. There was no time for him to go to work. And but Zoe, because she's a little bit more of a device kid, the Snapchat, the TikTok, the communicating with friends, whenever they're not together, they're communicating, non-stop. And it isn't that's our pandemic. Yeah. That's our epidemic.
Yes, yeah.
So it's hideous.
Instagram as well.
Yeah, that's right. All that stuff. So I've sent her off to work. She's got a job. And what I love about her job, she's on her feet for 3 or 4 hour day shifts, afternoon shifts. And it's also 3 or 4 hours of no device time.
Yep.
Because their boss actually has surveillance cameras. He's never there. He watches them from another place, which is creepy. But you know what?
They go to the right thing.
Yeah, And then he'll send her home to the manager. And then the manager, she's just organising her lift home, while we're a bit quiet. So calm your farm. Yeah.
Farm. That's good.
Don't I?
That's fine. But I know, Brad, you haven't much of a say, but I just want to sneak in here. I remember seeing Kirri. It was Kirri. We went out for dinner early this year. It's a story about she was quite nervous in her new job and she was only just turned 15. And she was practicing, you were role playing her being on the phone and everything. It wasn't taking orders. That was a really cool story to share.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was good. She's not as assertive and loud and forward as me. She's more like her dad. She's just quiet, placid and quiet. So yeah, her dad and I go well because I kick him up the butt for needing motivation and then he kicks me up the butt for being too full on. So balance. So Zoe on the way to school, I just sort of gave her the words of what to say because I honestly don't feel that many parents teach their kids. You don't learn this stuff at school.
No.
You don't learn any of that at school. So I just basically said, gave her the spiel. We practiced it for many mornings. Because one of my things I do for my kids is I drive them to school and it's a 15 or 17 to half an hour drive, depending on the traffic. I don't mind. They catch the bus home or whatever. And that's my time with them. Yeah. So we do homework, we do maths, but this particular week we did the script. So, thank you for calling the bar. This is Zoe. And so honestly, and it worked well because I now know I actually should mystery call her one day at work and see if she uses it because, she would have stumbled her words. She wouldn't have known. It's like learning choreography for posing or dancing or in a movie or a play. You practice. You practice.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really essential tool. And then the other thing I also sort of banged on about was be busy. Never stand around doing nothing. Remember memory retention. Remember what you did last week to bring it into the next week. Try not to ask too many questions if you can. Once you are, so now she's well and truly a couple of months into her job, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Although I picked up her bag yesterday, and she was serving someone. There wasn't enough smiles. I'm like, smile, girl. Look enthusiastic, girl.
I've loved it. I'm enjoying this. Are you enjoying this, Brad? This conversation.
I talk a lot, don't I, Brad?
But like passion, Kirri oozes passion in everything that you do. And like, you do say that we don't judge, but you are so into what you know. What I love about Kirri is you know who you are, what you stand for, and you are happy to share that with the world. Like I just love it. If anyone Googles you, like just check out Kirri's profile on Instagram. It's awesome. But like you've done, and with what you focus mainly on women and teens, isn't it?
Yeah,
health, sport, and nutrition.
Yep. So one of the biggest passions I like you with what you do in your finance and raising empowered children through finance. I love the 20-year-olds, even 18-year-olds that engage me in their say their fitness model or bikini journey to get to stage. But for me, it's like, I get to teach them. Yeah. And so, with what I do with their food, nothing's restrictive. It's all based on what they already like, and I just portion it to what their goals are. But the best thing is I teach them about toxic chemical shampoos and beauty products. I teach them about, maybe wash your clothes and towels before you wear them and use them, and no air fresheners. And I teach them about their hormone disruptors. And I teach them just that, that everything that I spoke about already, movement, balance, and my biggest motto that I must patent is don't go without, but don't pig out. So, there might be a week where one of my ladies really would love to have a red wine. So they'll message me and say, look, it's my birthday. I'd really love to have a red wine. I'm like, well, you know what? Do it. Have it today. Make sure you do an extra couple of thousand steps tomorrow, but it's not going to affect you because you've been so good leading up to that red wine, or even a pizza or, a few slices. And then just make sure you move and you don't do the same stuff tomorrow. So it's all about balance. Everything in life has to be balanced. Once you start to get too crazy, narrow-minded on one mission, you come unbalanced. It really is. You've got to check yourself. I think self-checking is so important. And that's what I think I'm doing. I'm just so stoked with Zoe's decisions to do this journey, because it's not just about her fat, to get abs. It's actually, for me, and she knows, it's more about health.
I might get in on this little plan, actually. I'd love to get a six-pack for the first time in my life too. It's not too late, is it, Kirri?
No,
it's never too late.
never too late. Hey, I didn't hit the stage as a figure model until I was 39.
Can I just ask you please to share that journey going back that step where you had remember you went to Bali and you drank some contaminated water and you developed the parasite, and that was so grounding, and like knowing Kirri so well, I remember how grounding and how that was transformational for you in your journey moving forward, wasn't it?
I've always been, I think, being a 73 baby, indigo child, here to change the world one human at a time. And so I was never a sheep. I was never a follower. I was always an individual. I never wanted to or needed to go to the toilet holding hands with a girlfriend, although I do. That's one thing that I tell my daughter. That's right. But no, it's one thing I do say to my daughter is never go to a public toilet by yourself. Ever. That's right.
That's how we bring our daughters up these days.
That's right. But for me back then, it was like, no, I don't need to hold hands with anyone to go to the toilet. I don't need to, do anyway. So I was always the follower. I was either loved or hated, and it's still actually my story now because I stand in so much of my own truth. People don't like the truth. They don't like the plain, obvious truth that people are not willing to see yet. So when I got sick,
So you're not the follower, just incidentally, you are the leader.
I'm a leader. I'm an instigator. You know, and I feel so sovereign in myself to walk and speak my truth in everything that I do. I don't get. So what happened was I got this bug. It was called Dientamoeba fragilis, single cell organism, anaerobic organism that's beyond microscopic in size. So I picked that up in Bali, maybe from sushi, raw fish, maybe from rice. I don't know if it was from water because I definitely didn't drink the water.
Okay, yeah.
But maybe food. Yes,
it's on the lettuce.
Because I was actually prepping for a show. So I was eating clean. So I was probably eating too much salad. So was probably getting washed in their skanky water. So maybe. Yep. So since then, I've learned if you can't peel it or boil it, don't eat it when you go to Bali. That's pretty much the motto. So if you can't peel it, if you can't boil it, don't eat it. Yeah, or raw fish too, because that's pretty bad for parasites.
Yep.
So nothing happened to me straight away. It was about 7 to 10 days later, I had these hideous bowel movements, and they were disgusting. And there was 2 a day. That was all I had. I had nothing else. So I went off to my competition in Townsville, won everything, go back. And then I've got to step it up. I've got to be better for the next, 2 weeks time. I've got to go, even though I just wanted everything, I still wanted to be better. So I trained like an absolute fiend, still with this bad diarrhea. So 1 week after that show, I crashed and burned. I was in bed, absolutely horrendous pains, chronic fatigue, just really, 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 really sick. And anyone else would have actually gone and had a doctor's appointment regarding the diarrhea back at the beginning. But I just knew how to keep my hydration up and my electrolytes up. So I knew that I was fine. I knew I felt good. I knew I looked good. So to me, there was no need to go to a doctor because I just pumped some extra gastrolyte in or salt or whatever. So anyway, I did get very sick and I did go to the doctor and they did put me on a course of antibiotics. Did those antibiotics. I had to cancel my show. I was that sick the week after. I still looked good. I would have won because I went down and helped at the show. But because that was my driving force. So that was the very start of my sickness. But I got I had 2 weeks of antibiotics. It didn't work. Then he put me on double dose of antibiotics. And since then, I've learned, and I had you in my ear because Ali had learned about health and antibiotics before me. Don't do it. It's bad for your organs, And I'm like, and I had Ali in my ear.
Which was Don Tolman in my ear.
That's right. And hey, and you taught me about Don Tolman.
Yeah, he was awesome. The self-care medicine man. We're going to be interviewing him in a couple of weeks' time. So,
oh my God.
I should invite you in on that one.
Oh yeah, that'd be so good. And so anyway, long story short, they didn't work. And I decided to do a big, massive 10 antibiotic bomb. So it was a compounded antibiotic. I'd read about it. This is when my research into health and wellness and healing started because the doctors couldn't help me. I was just crying. The doctor wouldn't even see me because he was too busy.
And then you hit depression at one stage too, of course.
And I'm a really positive person. Yeah. I'm like, who even is this me? Go away. I don't like this evil twin. You're evil. And so I investigated. I chose a new doctor, and she'd actually started investigating her own daughter's bug, which was the same one. So we prescribed me a 10 antibiotic bomb. Holy moly. It was insane. It worked. 3 days later, I was back. It was like, oh yeah, I'm back. I felt like Superwoman compared to how bad I was. It was like, yes, go the antibiotics. Okay, back to healing. So I had to learn about fermented food. Yep. I learned about colostrum. I learned about glutamine. I learned about bone broth. I learned about all the goodness to heal my gut. And I kept on learning. There was an awesome remedy with sunflower seeds and raisins. A dessert spoon of each helps rejuvenate the villi in the gut. So I did so much more. Anyway, I got to December. So I did my bodybuilding show, won everything again, won Australian champion for 40 plus in my category, got a fourth in the open category against the 20-year-olds.
Congratulations.
As 41. And yeah, it was awesome. Got to the start of December and I'm like, I had a brekkie, bacon and eggs on some gluten-free toast or sourdough or whatever. I'm like, ooh, I feel really, really sick. Anyway, I'm like, they're back because I've been researching these bugs.
Oh.
And I heard that they will, if you don't get every single one, they will rejuvenate. They will multiply again. And then because I've been researching so much, I learned about this protocol. It was actually 10 antibiotics a day for 10 days. I think that was the one that you said, don't do it, please. I'm like, Ellie, you're not as sick as me. You don't. And I took on everything that Ellie was saying. I'm like, but I was that sick and that desperate that I just had to do it. I got to day 5. I called 000. I thought I was dying. I woke up freezing cold and I was like shaking, and I've got Ali in my head. I've got Chris Googling all the antibiotics, and he's saying, oh, this one's not that bad. That wasn't bad. The ambulance came, and by that time I'd warmed up again a little bit, and he sort of told them. I felt like a hypochondriac, but I was so sick, man. Anyway, I worked it out after that fact that it was actually the die-off. It's called a Herxheimer reaction. So when you have an abundance of pathogens in your body, whether it's mold, yeast, fungus, bacteria, parasites, or viruses even, and we all have them all the time. They come and go all the time. When you bomb them with something and they die all of a sudden. And they release toxic proteins, which causes the Herx. So the Herx is the die-off, or what's known as in common language is the detox. So you'll experience hot flushes, coldness, shakes, migraines, headaches, diarrhea, constipation, bloating, pains in the stomach. The absolute works. So what I also experienced was sensitivity to hearing. But what I also worked out, and as my journey just through more investigation, was I had a compromised digestive system because it was very blocked. It was getting to the point where I was pooing, but there was too many blockages, and that's another podcast. We can talk about my loaded colon another day. So anyway, long story short, that's what woke me up.
She was awake.
I'm awake. Yeah. So that's what woke me up to have to self-heal, because that particular doctor, when I went back another time, told me it's all in your head. You need to realize this. You are a healthy patient. Go away. So, but I'd love to talk about that journey as well, because that's all about the digestion and how that made me feel. That was actually maybe a year or so later, and then we can talk about the candida that took over my whole body.
Yeah, and
from the antibiotics.
How are we going? I'm going to check in with Brad. How are we going for time? Because I know Kirri has just so much to share.
Yeah, we might need to have a second conversation to fully go into everything.
Yeah. This is
a third and a fourth.
But what I love about the stories that Kirri's sharing, you really win me over as the expert. So any parents listening who are raising kids, you've got your own teenagers, you've had your own health journey challenges, and you've come out the other side. The other thing which we may not have time with was like the implants, the removal of the implants,
we can
which
talk about
relates to body shape in the teenagers. And we talk social media and them comparing themselves to others and anxiety, depression, and, that terrible other word that starts with
And
S.
then we're going to talk about contraception and how that's used just too crazy like in teenagers. And there's so much to learn or teach. I want parents to know what I know, because I'm informing my kids on aesthetics as well. Yeah, I've had the breast implants, but it didn't define me. That is a whole new other topic. But I think the best thing about the whole awakening process, as the saying is, you've got to actually suffer yourself to heal yourself, then to wake yourself up properly,
and then be able to teach others,
and then teach it,
help them through their journey, their health journeys. Yeah.
Yep. So it's awesome. And then what I've been through now, I can teach my kids. And actually, just a quick touch on digestion. And because I found out in my journey that I'd had this colon issue, I'm now onto my kids about their poo. And I've been onto my kids about their poo. Have you pooed today? How big was it? How much was it?
What color was it?
What color? So, and I'd love to tell you about there's that. We've got a couple of more podcasts to do, I think, because, it's really important. Parents don't put enough emphasis on hydration and defecation. So, and if you blocked pipes, Don Tolman's number one reason for dis-ease and illness,
which
is blocked blocked pipes, blocked colon, blocked arteries, blocked veins, blocked airways.
Yep.
And all of those blockages you can avoid them
and
through healthy choices and informative decisions.
Absolutely. Informative decisions, which was the crux of our talk today. And with John Tolman, he says there's people that suffer from two things. It's toxicity and
blocked pipes.
And blocked pipes.
Blocked pipes, man.
Yeah, deficiency and toxicity as well. Yeah. So that's very powerful what you shared today. It's great. And these are the sort of things that Kirri does. She'll come into your pantry and just like, get rid of.
Oh, I've done that. That's the best fun. Yes, like that's the golden
chemicals
thing.
in our food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ruining us.
Yeah, and then into the bathroom, like, what do you got that, Rexona for, and all
aluminium.
Pantene and aluminium, and so my kids aren't allowed to have aluminium, but they do sneak it in, and I'm kind of just like, have to roll my eyes. I do buy the expensive underarm, and they do use it, but they have as a spare the aluminium stuff. But it is interesting, and I think so many more parents need to know more about life and living and healthy and teaching their kids
and walking their talk, because they're going to be learning from what we do, not what we say, as we've said in other previous podcasts.
Yeah.
So you'll walk your talk, and they role model you and they're a reflection of the parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, it's
you walk your talk, that's for sure.
Kirri.
I love it. I knew it was going to be an inspiring conversation. I thought I'm seriously under here. It's a little bit cool here today. I've got my gym gear on because I thought Kirri's going to inspire me to go for a run or a gym session, because I know how she works, right? But it's also, you make me feel like I just want to eat better, be more focused on what goes in to the temple, as Don Tolman says.
Yes, absolutely. And it's,
eat well.
I mean, it is easy to slip into bad habits again. I mean, I'm not perfect. I slip into, a few little bad habits, but, in saying that, if I was to have a celebration, have too many wines or Kahluas and soda, I won't go and hook into the McChuck the next day. No way. If I've put poison into my body last night, I'm going to nourish the hell out of it the next day.
Yeah.
There's no excuses. I mean, the excuses that I hear, holy moly, it's like, stop fooling yourself. Stop being in denial, people. There's no excuse for having junk the next day. You might be feeling shit, but you can nourish your body in a way better way, and rather than putting more chemicals in. But it's crazy. But I'm here to do my thing and change the world one human teenager, mum, dad at a time.
That's right. And thank you for social media, because that's allowed you to multiply that out, those people that you've changed the lives.
That is insane. So, the whole, just my last little bit. Sorry, Brad.
Brad doesn't have much to say. You're a disadvantage when you're over there in WA and not right here with us. But
do you have any questions?
I was going to ask that.
No questions. A few things have come up. So you mentioned the implants. I saw a thread on Twitter the other day. A lot of women were saying that they just didn't feel so good. They had the implants removed, and it's made a massive difference. It was affecting mental health and physical health in the body. Earlier you mentioned walking. I think walking is like a superpower, because we're like evolutionarily adapted and developed to walk before we eat. And I think walking before we eat is that's another superpower for sure.
And after we eat as well,
that too.
Yeah, if I'm correct.
And I think
John Tolman says that if you walk.
I was just going to say, and the overall theme of being consistent, and if you have one bad day, just don't let that turn into two.
Absolutely. And that goes for everybody. Yeah, the parent, the teen, everyone. But we can talk about the breast implants at another time, because it is it's something that is now becoming more mainstream knowledge. There are so many studies and reports from decades ago on how they make people sick, but they were shoved under the mat like a lot of stuff. So I even had one person in my journey, I had them for 9 years, just say to me, it's a fad, you're all removing your boobs for a fad. I'm like, are you joking? Why would I go and have an elective surgery to remove my boobs I actually really liked just because it's a fad? Are you joking? So that's what we're up against.
Yeah. But you've helped many young girls. We can bring this into another podcast if you like. We could just focus on
Yeah.
that. And with the
pill,
youth and
the amount of
young and
people have taken off the contraceptive pill, and it's changed their life.
Totally disrupts the
yeah,
hormones.
so- Total. It's synthetic. It's totally disrupting them and causing havoc. Yeah, it's yeah. I would love to talk about the pill. I've got another story that I'd love to mention. And
we're going to stop. We'll tie this one up and we'll go straight into another one. So, but yeah, you're a wealth of information, and health is our first wealth, which I've learned from our mutual friend, personal trainer Sharon Baker next door. That's her motto. Health is your first wealth. And Kirri Wood, you are so awesome, so inspirational. As I said, I just love that you know who you are and what you stand for, and you'll just keep changing people's lives one life at a time, and that's going to be multiplied out. By this the beauty of social media
every day.
So I love it. What's your biggest takeaway from our beautiful friend Kirri here today, Brad?
I'd say consistency is key. That's the number one. What about you, Ali?
Well, I love it that Kirri shares the tools that you planted the seed from a young age, and you say what you say and you mean what you say, and you will follow through. And that's why your kids have turned out so well, and you just keep doing what you're doing. And I think that's a great message to share for parents, that maybe it's that tough love almost. And walk your talk too. Be their best role model. And they're modeling you.
One of my proudest moments was the first time, and it happened numerous times, was my son, when he was about 10, was out in the tinny with his mates, maybe 11 or maybe 12. It's maybe not 10, maybe more like 12. And so they'll get off on Gympie Terrace and they'll all walk to McDonald's. But he'll be like, Mum, they're all walking to McDonald's. Can I stop at Bella Porto's and get a burger there? I said, absolutely, son. Yep. So he'll grab his Bella Porto's, which is a homemade burger, and he will go and take his homemade burger into the McDonald's precinct, eat his homemade burger in there. And that just warmed my heart so much that you go you. And even now, Mum, I've got this happening. What will I eat before? So he will ring me, and actually now my daughter's doing it too. So I love it. Every bit of that, it just makes me so happy. Yeah. And that day though, he was only little, but he rang me. It was cool to ring the mum to find out what the best choice is. So, it's cool. It's cool to be cool to them.
Yeah. And it's cruel to be, you've got to be a little bit cruel to be kind, that tough love. So parents, just don't think that you're being too tough on your kids, because the rewards in the future, they will thank you. As you said earlier, you said they're going to thank you when they're in their 20s that you did what you did.
Yeah.
You've set them up for life as far as the health, nutrition and sports.
Yeah.
So Kirri Wood is a health and sports nutritionist focusing on women and teens. So where can everyone find you if they want to learn more about you, Kirri, or tap into your coaching?
Yeah, look, at my website's not really up to date, but there is one there. It's Kirri Wood Fitness. Instagram is Kirri Wood Fitness and Truth. I'm a bit of a freedom fighter, activist, so that's another story one day.
That's another podcast
and then I'm just on Facebook as Kirri Wood, but yeah, probably Instagram's the best way. I'm on Telegram and MeWe and blah blah blah, but yeah, probably Instagram, because
that's the best way. They can direct message you and get in contact with you that way if they need some coaching or help with the women, the parents, the mums out there, or their teenagers.
Absolutely. And I've helped whole families. I've written meal plans up for whole families in this town, and they've all done it together. That's where it's really handy to, if you want to make a change, let the whole family make the change together.
Yeah.
So, everyone's little meal plans relatively the same foods. There's no separate meal shops. It's just quantities are different, or someone might not like asparagus or that, but then in saying that, greens can be very diverse every day. It doesn't really matter about your greens. If you have lettuce on, say, a meal plan, but you can have spinach or kale or silver beet instead. So
that is awesome.
The diversity is very important for gut health as well. So they say it's around 70 different things need to go into your body a week in the way of food and drink to keep your microbiome happy and healthy and thriving. Yeah.
Yes.
So many people have only ever really eaten 15 to 20 things ever in their life, because they are just so habitual. They have the same Weet Bix and milk and sugar for brekkie, the same lunch, the same snacks, the same dinners, lasagna one day, sausages one day, chicken soup one day. You've got to change it up. It's so integral, but no one's taught. You're not taught that.
We're not taught this in the schools. That's why we need to have these conversations. So, Kirri Wood, thank you, darling, for joining us today. You're a wealth of knowledge, as I said. I've loved every minute of it. I think it's really awesome what you've shared today.
Thank you, Ellie. Thanks, Brad. Next time I'll let you talk more.
All good. Thank you. Be sure to like, share. If you've got a comment, leave it. Might turn into a future podcast episode. Bye for now.